Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Diggin It with Eric Richey. It's a show about beach volleyball, club volleyball, high school, college, you name it. This show is loaded with content for the next hour plus. Later, we're going to talk about the college beach volleyball tournaments that are taking place this weekend. LSU, Tulane, Southern Miss. All those teams are in action this week, and we've got the man to help us break it down. Former Tulane head coach Wayne Hawley, now the founder and director of Beach Prospects and his analytics with these conference tournaments. You're going to want to stick around and watch and listen to that. We're going to be joined by club director Jake Palmer. He's a huge part of Diggs in Covington when they were up and running. Now he's the club director of Infinity South. We're going to talk to him about his new club. Legendary volleyball guru Bruce White. For 44 years, he's been an integral part of the volleyball community. He is retiring in less than a month. We're going to hear from Coach White and talk a little bit about his last hurrah. He's coaching a boys club indoor team right here in the New Orleans area, and they are fantastic. But we're going to start this with Louisiana High School Beach Volleyball. It's the Louisiana High School Beach Volleyball League's inaugural year, and on Tuesday, they held their Final Four. It was Mount Carmel, the number 1 seed, Haynes Academy 2, Kenner Discovery 3, and Dominican 4, those 4 teams battling for the championship. Championship day for the Louisiana High School Beach Volleyball League, and this day belonged to Mount Carmel. Net 3, Emma Richey with the 6th serve in the semifinals versus Dominican. Her partner, Julia Savoie, showing the versatility with the left hand, and Mount Carmel advances into the finals versus Haynes Academy. Let's take you to net 1, some big girl volleyball. It's the Vaucher sisters, Virginia and Maryland, taking on Nola Savan and Olivia Meyer. And my goodness, with the big-time hit from Virginia. The next point, absolute nastiness from Virginia again with the brilliant corner shot, and Haynes takes set 1 on net 1. Okay, let's head to net 2. Mia Lopez and Emily Caracci for Mount Carmel facing Bella Granados and Claire Coward. Lopez, just a freshman, such a smart player, great dump here. Then it's Caracci going with the power for the kill. Mount Carmel evens things up, winning set 1 on the middle net. Let's check in on court 3. Savoie and Richey up to their old tricks. Richey, another 6th serve for the ace. Then it's Savoie, again going with the left hand for the kill, and MCA rolls to victory in set 1. Keep it on this net for the second set. And like all season, Richey and Savoie rolling. Going for more power late in this one. First Savoie, then it's Richey. Closing it out with the straight sets win on court 3. They didn't lose a set all season and give Mount Carmel the first point in the championship, now leading 1-0 in this best-of-3 duel. Back to net 1, and it's Mount Carmel looking good. Meyer with the smart, sweet touch. Later, her partner, Savan, with the great shot, back line, and Mount Carmel evens things up 1 set apiece on net 1. On net 2, things are going to even out as well. Granados just continues to raise her game. One of the best shots of the championship right here with this misdirection slam. Bella can flat out play. And how about Coward? Great up and on set point for the kill. And we're headed to a third set on net 2 as well. It was tight, but in the end, Mount Carmel scoring when it counted. Lopez with the little cutty. Then championship point, Caracci with the kill, giving Mount Carmel the 2-1 win on court 2 and their second point in the duel, clinching the championship with a 2-0 lead. On net 1, don't tell these 4 college-level players that it's over. Big hits, insane ups, and all-out hustle like here from Olivia Meyer deep into set 3 to close it out. The Vaucher sisters again with the hustle, and it's going to be little sis, Maryland with the kill to end a tremendous rally. Then on set point, Maryland off the tape, dumps it home for the ace. Spectacular match to end out the season. 28-26 the final as Haynes gets a point, but Mount Carmel gets the trophy for the championship. That's right, Susan Levy, the head beach volleyball coach, and Mount Carmel's AD, April Hagedon, getting in that picture for the trophy shot. Also there, Giselle Estrada and Brooke Dara, who won the pairs tournament. So all out, a tremendous day for Mount Carmel, winning the Louisiana High School Beach Volleyball League Championship 2-1. So congratulations to Mount Carmel winning that first Louisiana High School Beach Volleyball League Championship. Good stuff. Let's go to our next subject, and that is Bruce White. He has been integral in the volleyball community in the Gulf Coast area for over 4 decades. Think of this, 29,000 teams have registered for his leagues over the last 40 years. He recently was given the Lifetime Achievement Award by the Emerald Coast Volleyball Club over at Fuds, that they had the huge tournament this past week. Well, Bruce was busy during the tournament. This picture was probably taken Monday or Tuesday because his last hurrah will be a boys club volleyball team, Blue Crab. And what a team he has. We have so much content from Bruce White, who is retiring at the end of May, that we're going to hold off and make it a 2-part series, if you will. We're going to hear from the players from Blue Crab Volleyball next week. We're going to devote these next 10 minutes to just Bruce White to talk about not only that team, which he is very, very high on, but his career and getting ready to retire and step away from volleyball. Here now, Bruce White at a recent practice this past Monday for Blue Crab Boys Club Volleyball.
Well, actually, it's a boys' team. I don't even have a whole club. It's just one team, 9 boys that I've been coaching. And some of the guys were getting ready to join a team over in Houston, and I didn't like the idea of some of the best boys in Louisiana going to play for another state. So I talked to some of the parents. I told them that I'd coach for 2 years. I wasn't trying to build a club. I'm going to coach a team. And when these guys graduated, it was time for me to become a full-time granddad.
Well, what's it been like? This is a heck of a team. You got some unbelievable players. What has this year been like for you coaching with this team?
I'm going to tell you guys right now, this team, I'm not making them a better team. They're making me a better coach. I've never had a team that was this excellent. I have to learn more things to do. How do I improve my coaching so I can improve them? And it's been great. You know, it's been a tough year. I know that I'm leaving. There's a lot of sad times. You know, Mary and I are moving to Savannah. My wife's already over there. And these kids have now been my new family. And, you know, if I'm down or something, going to a tournament with these kids, hey, they pump me up. You know, it's been a really good situation.
You just touched on it, so I'm just going to stay right there.
Okay.
Your retirement. Tell us the background on why now that you feel it's time for you to step away from volleyball.
Well, this is 44 years that I've been doing outdoor volleyball and indoor volleyball in the New Orleans area. I'd planned to do it 2 years ago. I sort of had a goal of reaching my 1,000th tournament as a director, and that was in the middle of COVID. And it just wasn't the right time to go. I knew that when my oldest daughter and the 4 grandchildren got settled in and they moved to Savannah in July of last year, I knew my wife was heading that direction. And I knew that a happy life was, I need to find a way to get myself back to Savannah with the grandkids and the wife. So I knew that by the end of May of 2023, they would be settled in Savannah. I'll be back and forth, and I'll always have roots in New Orleans. I'm keeping property around this area, and I'll always be a part of White Sands and Seeger Sandbar.
What about the part of volleyball you're going to miss the most?
I know what I'm not going to miss the most, and that's trenching after rainstorms in New Orleans. Really, what I'm going to miss the most is all the friends that I've made over the 40 years of doing volleyball in this area. On this team that I'm coaching right now, there's 2 of the players that I coached their moms when they were 10 and 12 and 13. And now I'm coaching their sons, and that's been great. I've seen most of these kids when their parents were playing here at either Coconuts or at White Sands. they were just little kids coming out, hanging out with their parents, and now I'm coaching them, and some of these guys are getting college scholarships to head on the next 4 years.
Tell me what you're most proud of in these 4+ decades of being around the sport of volleyball, being instrumental to so many people having a chance to play beach volleyball, the things that you've taught. I'm sure your coaching tree spans across the country. What are you most proud of, what you've accomplished in this sport?
I think the thing I'm most proud of is how we built a volleyball community. You know, everybody has sat there and said, oh, you did this or you did that. Really, the volleyball players did it. You know, when Mike Drury and I built the original Coconut Beach, it was the volleyball players that came out and made it an atmosphere and an exciting place to be. And the thousands, I've had 29,000 teams play in our leagues over the last 40 years. And that is probably the thing that I'm the most proud of. I have no idea how many state championships the coaches that started underneath in the jazz program back when we had the Volley Gators, and now we have so many of these people running their own clubs and running high school and running state championships all over the place.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Let me ask you about this team. Give me some of the names. I know we're going to be talking to Joshua. I saw you in Baton Rouge at Block Party, and you were raving about your setter, Matt, and what he could do on any big-time program around the country. Tell me about some of these players, Coach, that we're about to meet.
Well, you know, everything on this team starts off with Josh Lewandowski is as good of a high school volleyball player I have ever seen. And he's only 6'3", so that's why the big schools aren't looking at him. But this young man is as good as anybody, and everybody in New Orleans knows of the best volleyball player out of New Orleans at the AVP level is Evan Corey out of all the guys. And I watched Evan all the way through his high school career. I think Josh is actually better than Evan was at that time. Now, let's see how he does in college and moves forward, but I'm expecting great things. Our setters, both of them, but Matthew is unbelievable setter. He is magic with the volleyball. I mean, he really can do some things that so many of these other setters can't do. And as far as serving, I told the coach from Virginia yesterday, I said, go. I know that if I had Matthew in a program where we could work every day, most of the time during the year, I feel that he could lead the nation in serving aces. I've never seen anybody at any level spin a volleyball as fast as he can. And when you can put that much rotation on the ball, that means you can hit it harder, and it's just going to drop even faster and faster. You know, we have new boys that Chase is playing in our middle. Chase literally, first time he ever played hard court was October of this year, you know, of 2022. He'd been on the beach and we picked him on up, and every one of these kids, it's so fun to see how much they've improved. You know, one of the young men, it changed his life. I mean, he literally, once he got on the team, he started eating better. He started working out. He dropped 30 pounds. And now he's turned into a great volleyball player. And, you know, he's like, oh, I get to be used once in a while. You know what? At the Block Party tournament where we won the Open tournament, Andrew had to go all the way around because we were missing some of our players. He ended up playing back row and front row on a men's Open team or a boys' Open team, winning the tournament that I never thought we were going to win that tournament.
Excellent. So, not much more of this season left. Take us through what's next for this team and the goals that you still have out there that you'd like to accomplish.
Well, as a coach, my goal has always been one thing. Can I improve the players? You know, for me, it's not about winning. It's getting them better. How do I get them better? How do I improve them? How do I get their confidence better? You know, there's something that just came across the internet the other day about Kristen Nuss, one of the other greatest players that we may ever see, hopefully an Olympian. And everybody said, she's 5'6" and she's got all these skills. what do you think is Kristen's best skill? And I responded, her confidence. Okay? And confidence is a scary skill that a lot of coaches, they'll lose a player's confidence instead of saying, how do I get this kid back up? Oh, you did this wrong, and you chew him on out. Well, I promise you, I'll dress him down, but I'll be ready right to push him back saying, hey, I haven't lost confidence in you. Let's go back in there and let's do it again. Yeah. And these are the things that you hope for. We have really 2 main tournaments left. Our regional championship in Mobile this coming up weekend, and then the national championships in Orlando that we're working towards. You know, all I'm concerned about, me winning a tournament, what, I'm going to get another trophy or another volleyball or another medal? No. I want these kids to go and play their best. You play your best, that's all that's important to me.
So from boys club volleyball to girls club volleyball, where we head to Metairie at the Acme Oyster House, and where we find our next guest, Jake Palmer, who is a longtime player, coach, and now club director. Let's go to him now live. Jake Palmer joins us. And Jake, how are things going? Great to have you on. We've been talking about it for months. We finally got you.
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for asking. It's good to be here. And yeah, I'm glad we're finally carved out the time to get it done. Everything's going good, man. Just, trying to burn the candle at both ends while I got the energy to do it. And family's good, business is good. We're doing great.
You amaze me. Director of operations at Acme Oyster House, and you're all over the place in the New Orleans area, Houston, you're just everywhere. But every time I look up at a volleyball court, I'm bumping into you. So you are burning the candle at both ends. You got an awesome family. And, we really, I guess before we get into that, let's find out how you got into volleyball. What is your volleyball background?
Well, I probably watched Top Gun one too many times, or in reality, it was probably the movie Side Out when I was about 12 or 13. I kind of got exposed to that movie, and a couple of buddies, we decided to learn how to play, and it just took off from there. I started playing. Majority of my play was on the beach, and mediocre career at best. But I played at the YMCA in Metairie. That's kind of where I cut my teeth, and then got to a point where I was playing well enough that some players asked me to go to Coconut Beach, and I had never been there. And I went out to the Coconut Beach in West End and just absolutely fell in love. So fell in love with the game, played mostly beach, got into indoor when I was a little later in high school and in college. But just have always loved the game, loved the strategy, loved the fact that it gives you an opportunity to display some explosive athleticism, power, strategy, but also requires you to really think on your feet more than many other sports. So it's a beautiful game, and I've always loved it. Love coaching it too. Love watching kids kind of go through the rites of passage, getting their first jump serve, or getting their first power kill or block or whatever it might be. Just fun to watch people enjoy the game.
Well, you tongue-in-cheek, say mediocre career as a player at best, but man, you picked up the game, the cerebral side, the tactician in you. You did teach those kids the fundamentals. And I remember, I'm going to take you back to the COVID year, 2020. And we're trying to get Emma prepared to make a run at an indoor team at Mount Carmel. But we can't get into a gym anywhere. We live in Destrehan, and we're all over Metairie, New Orleans. We just can't get into a gym. So we got to get her out there somewhere. So we started, that's really when Emma started playing beach. And we went up to Diggs. We met you and Amy and your children, and instantly had a feel-good moment up there because you guys were so welcoming to us, as we weren't the North Shore people and the gang that you guys ran with, but you had, and we got video of it too, you ran Heat Wave Academy, where you taught those players the fundamentals like you were just talking about. Take us back to Diggs in Covington and the Heat Wave Academy and what that meant to you to be such an instrumental part for so many young players' careers.
Yeah, it was a tremendous opportunity. My partner in the deal, Brandon Migliori, was just a great volleyball benefactor for the North Shore, and we built a top-notch facility, in my opinion, and we had some moments of really high-level play out there, but what I enjoyed the most was kind of the junior side of things and watching the kids come out and coach, and it really gave us something to do during COVID that we could look back on and smile about, and a lot of people just didn't. A lot of people didn't have that opportunity. They were either locked up, they didn't get out as much as they wanted to. My wife and my kids and myself, we spent every day, every evening outside on the sand, teaching and playing the game that we love. So it was as good for me as it was for anybody else out there. And I hope that I helped, Emma for sure. She's a great little player and super coachable. I always enjoyed coaching her.
Thank you, and you did help her. No doubt. No, it was awesome. And not only did we go to your Heat Wave Academy, but you guys had hot shot tournaments, you had juniors tournaments. People were like, well, why don't you guys just move to the North Shore? You're up here so much. And we thoroughly enjoyed that. And I wanted to, publicly thank you for, what you did for not only Emma, but just the video we just showed. You can see it in their faces. You can see your passion for teaching the game, and you did just a wonderful job. So let's move forward. I know you and your daughter were part of the CVC club, and all of a sudden this new club appears, and we all know about Infinity South from Mississippi, but now, or Infinity, the golf, the volleyball club from Mississippi, but now there's Infinity South, and that's a bunch of North Shore players that we recognize from the high schools up there. And man, you guys are making waves right away. Tell me about how this Infinity South project started. Tell me about that first, and then I want to show some video in just a minute.
Yeah. As you mentioned, we were my daughter, both of my daughters, or two of the three, and myself were part of the CVC club. And when that club kind of folded, there was a bit of a vacuum. And fortunately, the folks from Jackson, Hazelwoods, Brian and Jenny, they were looking to expand their club into this market. And so I guess there's, in some ways, it could be considered a seamless transition. We went from one club to another. In all honesty, it was nothing with volleyball is ever seamless, but there was a vacuum created by the departure of CVC from the market, and I'm super proud to be part of the Infinity family. And we operate kind of separately in a different region, but I've always got the Hazelwoods to reach out to if I need anything, and it really has kind of worked out tremendously well, considering that there was a moment there where it looked like we may not have the same club opportunities for all of these kids that were part of a big successful club because it was closing down. So really happy to be able to offer something and hope to just be a small part of the development of these kids,
No, and like I said, you've made waves on this show. We've shown some of your teams that have won tournaments already. Jeremy White, the Southeastern coach, what a get to have a Division I college coach, coaching a 17s team. You've got a 17s team. Let me take you to your 17s. Caroline Harris, a Mount Carmel player, is on that team. Tell me about your 17s. We've got some video I want to show you from Southern Hospitality in Jackson, and tell me about your squad.
Yeah, Caroline plays in the middle position for us. She's a very effective attacker for us, and certainly plays a big role on the defense. As you know, the position is called middle blocker, so their first job is to kind of go pin to pin. And Caroline, along with the other players on the team, everybody's just been putting in tremendous effort. It's we really do. We win a lot. We don't win everything, but when we lose, we typically have made our opponent work real hard. So that's kind of one of the tenets of our team is asking those questions after a match, right? If we've been successful, we want to celebrate that and talk about what it was that led to success. But on the occasion that we get upset or we get beat, the real question is did we make the opponent earn their points, or did we give it to them? And it's been a pleasure to coach these girls. They're a lot of fun. That when kind of transitioning from the 15s and 16s into 17s, in a lot of cases you're going from from what could be described as girls volleyball to women's volleyball. And so you're dealing with young women who have strong personalities and they have lives outside of volleyball. So you're watching them navigate through the world of competing demands while also trying to stay committed to their teammates and their academics, and some of them have jobs. So it's just been a learning experience for us all. I really love them. They're great to be around. They keep me young in a lot of ways, but they're also, and sometimes they're taking years off my life too. So I guess that's the way it goes with this game.
No doubt, no doubt. Let's go ahead and talk about your daughter's team, Olivia. She's on the 16s and the 15s as well that we captured video of up in Jackson.
Yeah, so Olivia, my oldest daughter, she plays on the 16s team, which is coached by Hannah White, who is the head coach at Lakeshore High School. This is a super talented group too. We've got a lot of really, really talented players on the team. And I kind of intentionally have stepped away from coaching my own kids and want to get them exposed to other coaches, because I think that's an important thing. So I try not to attend all of their practices. I allow the coaches to do, at least with Hannah, allow them to do their job with a little bit of anonymity. Very, very happy with the results that team has been getting. I mean, they've got room to grow. There's a ton of athleticism on the team, and I think I'm hoping that they're going to continue to improve and hit the stride as we head into nationals. Last couple of tournaments of the year are local, so we cut down on some of the traveling. Play in New Orleans the last two tournaments of the year, and then head to Orlando in June. So really excited. The future is bright for a lot of the kids in the club, man. I feel like we have a lot of really talented athletes and good kids and good parents too. That's kind of you've got to have it all. If you want to be successful in the club side of things, you got to have good coaches, good athletes, and parents who are going to support the development of those athletes.
No, well put, and you've got all that too. And we're going to see you at AAU Super Regionals in New Orleans, and we're going to see you in Orlando at Nationals as well. Before we let you go, Jake, I want you to tell people what you want them to know about Infinity South, and if they're a young beach or a young indoor volleyball player that wants to join a club and might be looking for a different scene or something new. What do you want them to know, and how can they contact you with Infinity South?
Well, our Instagram page is Infinity South LA, and they can. That's probably the best way to kind of communicate with us. My daughter manages the Instagram page, so I'm not. That's not
Awesome.
Not one of my strengths. We kind of talked about this, I guess, in the early parts of developing and in the early season meetings, kind of what our mission was going to be, and a lot of it was just recognizing that most of these kids, many of the kids in our club, are part of a varsity program, and if they're not part of it now, they will be part of it in the future. They're playing JV volleyball, they're playing varsity volleyball, they're playing 8th or 9th grade, whatever it may be. And that season, having gone through it with as a coach, I coached for SSA for a little while, and then my daughter plays for SSA. The high school season, as it should be, it requires a tremendous amount of commitment. These kids practice 5 days a week. They lift weights. They travel to matches. They're doing it all while they're going to school. So we went into this club business from the standpoint of we want to compete at the highest level that we possibly can, but we really want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to enhance and restore the love of the game for the kids, and making sure that things are fun, that they are allowed to enjoy the traveling, and that they're recognizing this is not just about volleyball. It's about spending time with your family, recognizing the sacrifice that your teammates make to be with you, that your parents make to provide you with the opportunity to travel and play volleyball. So we want it to be fun and a restorative. We want it to have a restorative functionality as it relates to the love of the game, because my goal is to deliver tremendously positive athletes and back to their varsity programs if that's what they're doing with their volleyball life.
Well, that's pretty well put, and I really encourage people that if you're on the fence, you're looking for a new club, to actually get in touch with you guys at Infinity South. I'm so impressed with what you've been able to do in 1 year, Jake, and that says a lot about you and the people that have put that together. So well done. Can't wait to see you.
I thank you for that, but I do want to I have a great team. The group of coaches that I have that decided to join our club, in my opinion, is second to none. And that's where the success is. It's, having my wife helping me with some of the kind of the administrative side of things. Hannah White, who is like I mentioned earlier, she's a coach. She's also my assistant director. And then all of the coaches, from top to bottom. Very thankful to have all of them as part of the club. And I hope that they've enjoyed it as well, because that was one of the goals, was to make sure that everybody involved, all of the stakeholders in the club, from the parents to the coaches and the kids, certainly, that everybody has an enjoyable experience.
Well, we certainly appreciate it, and continued success. We will see you on the trail, my friend, and thanks for all that you do for, encouraging and expanding the game of volleyball.
For sure, man. Thank you for your time, and tell them I said hello. We'll talk soon.
We'll do it. Thanks so much. All right.
Take care.
Take care. Time to take a break here on Digging It with Eric Richey. When we return, we go from the club scene and head right into college beach volleyball. Tournaments are coming up, and we've got the guy to break down the brackets. We're talking about Wayne Holly, the former Tulane coach, joins us next here on Digging It with Eric Richey, brought to you by Bayou Granite and Marble. We're back after this.
Since 2000, Bayou Granite has grown to be Southeast Louisiana's largest fabricator of stone countertops. From precise laser measurements to state-of-the-art water jet and CNC machines, we can handle your kitchen and bath needs as well as any commercial projects. Let our expert staff design and customize the right material for your home or business. Stop by our new state-of-the-art fabrication facility and showroom today at 9622 East Main Street, or call us at 985-637-4911. And don't forget to like us on Facebook.
The Sports Pub and Grill in Destrehan has it all. A great place to watch the game, daily drink specials, and you won't believe the food. From our fresh 10-ounce burgers, fully loaded baked potatoes, and great salads too, like taco salad and grilled chicken. Need something to rinse it down with? How about one of our refreshing daiquiris? A great atmosphere for the whole family. Just a few miles west of the airport. The Sports Pub and Grill, 3001 Ormond Boulevard in Destrehan. Welcome back to Digging It with Eric Richey, and as promised, we're going to the beach volleyball circuit, but we're going to go the collegiate style. A lot of conference championships were determined last week, but there are some biggies taking place this weekend, and we have got an awesome analyst to help us break it down. We're talking about Wayne Holly, and you might remember the name from a former head coach at Tulane, where he was a very impressive run with the Green Wave, 109 wins, almost a 600 winning percentage. Coach Holly became the 9th Division I beach volleyball coach to achieve over 100 wins. He had 3 straight 20-plus win seasons at Tulane, and then where he's at now, he has founded Beach Prospects. He is not only the founder, but the CEO, and he joins us now live from Delray Beach, Florida. Coach Holly, let me just tell you, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. I feel like I'm calling in your show. First-time caller, long-time follower. You do great work with Beach Prospects. You know, it's my buddy Mike Cassidy and Jason Doise and myself. We're geeks with volleyball, and you do a terrific job. Welcome to the program, and how are things treating you in Delray Beach?
Hey, Delray is fantastic. I love to be here, and thanks, Eric. I really appreciate coming on and chatting about my, my first love, beach volleyball. So I think you like to do that too. So I think we're going to get along just great here.
I think we're all. Are we best friends? I'm like, holy Jesus! That's just like how it was with Mike Cassidy. He's like, you got a daughter that plays beach. I got a daughter that plays beach. So anyway, you got a daughter that goes to college at Southern Miss. Oh my God, I'm following you. So anyway, yeah, we could volleyball geek out all the way. But let's just start where it began with you and your background in volleyball. Obviously, not only, a head coach at Tulane, but you were assistant coach at many different levels and juniors, and, your accolades, are highly impressive. But where did it all begin for you in this sport of volleyball?
Yeah, I've had quite an original path toward coaching, and I started out as practicing law for a really long time in New York, and did that for a long time, and eventually retired from that to try to give volleyball a shot. I always loved doing it. I grew up on the beach playing. And so, started out like most people, high school job and try to do that well and, get an opportunity in college. And I did. And as a young coach, I was given a chance at Brown University up in Providence, Rhode Island as a young second assistant coach and got to learn a lot up there. And around the same time, I started with USA Beach Volleyball. Back then, it was called the High Performance Program. And I just sent them a cold email and said, hey, can I fly down to Florida? I was living up in Connecticut at the time. And I see you doing a camp. Can I fly down and walk around and shag balls and listen to the coaches and try to learn? And they said, come on down. So that's kind of where it started. And then I worked my way through the ranks with USA Volleyball on the beach side and kept getting opportunities and kept trying to, do a good job and maximize those chances and worked my way through that system and got to be a volunteer and then an assistant and then a head coach with the beach national teams and kind of got a really great chance to learn a lot about coaching in that system with a lot of really great people that I was surrounded by. And that really kind of stoked my passion for coaching. And, I then got an opportunity to fly to New Orleans and interview for the job at Tulane. And this is now going back to about 2012. So it was just when beach volleyball in college was starting. In fact, 2012, I believe, was the first season. And I started at Tulane in 2013. And that was Tulane's second season. And then I got a chance to kind of spearhead that program for the next 6 seasons. And, a lot of good memories from Tulane. It was, I really missed the players. Had a great opportunity to build a program from the beginning and get it off the ground, bring in the first kind of beach only team there and, develop a culture and get the program on the map. There were years where we had, some appearances in the national rankings. And back then, of course, there was a pairs championship when the AVCA was running it. This is before, of course, the NCAA took over the sport in 2016. So, the AVCA used to run a championship and run a pairs championship. So we got to do that and really got the program off and running and had a nice run over there at Tulane. And, when I left there, I spent a year at Georgia State with my good friend, Coach Beth Van Fleet over there. I got to be her assistant, and that was just a fantastic time. I got to meet a lot of awesome people, from players to coaches to administration over there. It was nothing but wonderful, fond memories over there. And then COVID hit, and during COVID, it was nearing my 10th year in College Beach. I decided, like a lot of people, to go in a different direction, and I got down to Florida during COVID and never really left. So that's kind of where we got started with Beach Prospects.
That's a tremendous run, and we're going to dive into some more of the coaching aspect of it, but I want to go back to the very first part of your answer, those 10 years as a lawyer. I know you were delving into that white-collar crime stuff, and I know now you're so much into analytics, so I guess my obvious question would be, those 10 years as a lawyer, what were you able to apply to your coaching style? And I know you dove into analytics and you had to study in both professions, but what did Wayne Holly as a lawyer, how did he help Wayne Holly as a coach?
Yeah, funny question, because it wasn't planned, right? I mean, I don't know if anyone put that plan together. But, you go in the direction that life takes you. And it's funny because I've thought about that question a lot looking back. And of course, it wasn't planned. But, I enjoyed my time practicing law. I certainly loved law school and the rigor that it brought, intellectually, and the discipline that it brought and the competitiveness that it brought. Practicing law in New York is kind of an exhilarating, very intellectual experience in an awesome, incredible city that is monumentally competitive. And, we were on the edge of a lot of things when we were doing law there. And it was right around the time that, to get off volleyball, the government started to prosecute the types of cases that I was handling. And so that was really good timing. But, it forced a lot of discipline. You learned to work very hard for what you needed to do. You learned how to, be over prepared for things. And, the preparation, the discipline that the law required, really translated well to coaching. And certainly it's translated to, what I'm doing more recently, because you have to learn how to represent a client and what clients' needs and how to communicate with them, and how to be a zealous advocate and be informed and be able to provide a client information that they need and a plan or strategy that they need. So whether it's law, whether it's what we do now, you're essentially working with other people to help solve their problems. And so in that sense, it's really all the same.
The preparation I hear in that answer as well, but I go back to the competitiveness. Now I want to take you to your days as the head coach at Tulane and kind of dive into that a little bit more. And during those years, you were not only, as you said, you had Tulane, literally a fresh program in the national rankings, but as far as the other women's athletics on the campus during that time, you were the winningest program. And even throw in the men during that run, you were one of the tops, and if not the tops during one of those years. Tell me about the days at Tulane. And when you look back, what are you most proud of, or what comes to mind when you think of your days as a Green Wave beach volleyball head coach?
Yeah, you're right. We were given an opportunity. I mean, I think any coach would love the opportunity to have a clean slate, right? And we essentially walked in with that. We were able to kind of get the program off and running in our direction right away and immediately start to put our stamp on it. So in that sense, that was one of the great opportunities that not everyone gets. So sometimes, life just deals you a good hand and you run with it. But, fondest memories there, when I was doing it, and certainly as a young coach and throughout much of my time there, you get obsessed with winning and you try to get, a good record, and you want to get in the polls and you look for all these outside benchmarks, right? I mean, are we in the poll? Are people voting for us? What do they think of us? Are we nationally known? Are we spreading the brand, right? And those types of things. But I've certainly come around to the view now, and while I was there, some of the more memorable things are, I recently had a player reach out who's working for NASA, right? So Tulane's obviously a great academic school, and we had a lot of students who were academically oriented there. I think you go to Tulane to get a great degree and go make your mark in the world as a professional, and you happen to be great at volleyball. That's awesome. So, I have people reach out to me from time to time, former players, and say, hey, look, we appreciate the time we got to spend with you, or appreciate the culture you were building there, or, we appreciate how you allowed us to choose the classes we wanted around practice. And, she sent me a shirt from NASA, and I thought that was pretty cool. So when players reach out, and they're grateful for their experience while I was there, and they think that I had some influence in that, then there's no question that's far more rewarding than anything, that happened on the court, or a win or a loss or anything like that.
So during that run, so you're, year two, everything is new. Everything had to be new. So, you're learning, but your players that you're recruiting and their families, they have to be clueless. This is all brand new. They're probably telling their families, hey, I'm going to go play college volleyball, and they don't even know what beach volleyball was, or playing on the sand. And so that prompted you, and you and I talked on the phone earlier this week, kind of like right then you realized firsthand you're dealing with these parents that had no idea the process and the questions and, the intrepidation of just, I don't even know what I'm supposed to do. And that leads to Beach Prospects, which is what you're doing now. So tell us about Beach Prospects, how it started, what it does, and what you would like to tell potential high school players and their families, how you can help them navigate that, sometimes very scary process.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose, Beach Prospects was something that was born out of my experience with coaching and a lot of my observations while recruiting players. So I suppose it was probably a more obvious transition than the transition from law to coaching. But in my second major transition in my life, when I went from coaching to this, it was, Beach Prospects was an idea that was formed while I was still coaching. And, as I said, I was recruiting athletes, of course, and scouring the earth, going to tournaments. And, every time I had chances to talk to players or just listen to them, right? If you walk around a tournament and you just listen to what people are saying, you can learn a lot about what they care about and what they're confused by. And, my impression was that, people were confused by the recruiting process. They didn't really know how it worked. They didn't understand when things did happen, why they happened. They didn't know how to reach out to coaches, what to say. They didn't know whether coaches would reply, and if they did, why or why not. I just felt like there was a lot of confusion in the process, and it was cloaked in kind of some mystery because the rules were, unavailable, esoteric, or so dense that nobody could really understand them. And so I thought, wow, what a great opportunity it may be to be someone in a position who's recruited a lot of athletes and been on the coaching side of it. To bring some information based on experience to families and help them to understand the process better, and hopefully with that level of understanding they could both make better choices and do that with a lot less anxiety. And going back to the law again, everything I've done I feel like has served me well in the next step. I mean, whether it's coaching, whether it's in Division I, a mastery of complex rules and making sure you're not violating them, and handling budgets and things like that. So what I'm doing now, right, really translated very well. So Beach Prospects now is a small consulting business that I run, and it really is private advising and consulting to families who are navigating the beach volleyball recruiting process. So I try to bring a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience to that job, so I can help families, really navigate the process. And I think of it's less. Wayne in Beach Prospects is less a go-between between prospects and coaches, and more standing behind prospects. 98% of our communication is with our clients and just guiding them, helping young people to think about where they want to go, help them to be good advocates for themselves, to speak for themselves, whether it's in person or through email or on the telephone, to think about what they do well and how to communicate that to someone else, and to build their confidence and grow them into young adults who can go out in the world and pursue an opportunity, just like they will have to do a job later. And so we really work hard to help them develop those skills and not do it for them. And so that's really what it is. It's private advising, just trying to help families who are confused or need a professional to assist them. And we bring a lot of not guidance in the form of strategy, how to communicate, when to communicate, what methods of recruiting will be done by certain coaches and not by others, or what time of year, to rules-based things like, if you go to a camp right now, the coach may not be able to speak to you about recruiting because there's a rule in place that blocks that. Or, if you go to this tournament, don't expect college coaches because it's a dead or quiet period and they won't be there. So things like that a lot of people don't know, right? And so that is really, in a nutshell, what we're really trying to do with Beach Prospects.
No, it's excellent. And the word that I hear over and over, Coach Wayne, is relationships. When it comes to recruiting, the relationships, and as you said, building these young players into, as you said, portraying what they do best and trying to get that message out on their own, and not having a parent do it for them or send that email or make that phone call. And the relationships, my goodness, your years as a beach volleyball coach, a decade of coaching, at a high level, you as you said, as an advisor, but you can help them with those recruiting processes. You can call a coach and say, hey, if you're looking for, a defender or split blocker, I've got this person. So the relationships that you've even built more since you've been left coaching and now with Beach Recruits, the analytics side. And again, from the onset of our interview, I told you that's the content that you crank out with Beach Prospects Analytics, and the breakdown of even teams that aren't in the top 20, right? You have a compassion
Sure.
for those teams that are doing great stuff just outside the top 20. But man, we've got all these, conference tournaments that are coming up. We want to break it down. But before we do it, just kind of give us your background. You said you're not a media guy, but man, you write well. You got great information. Tell us about the Beach Prospects Analytics. And if you're not aware of it, go to Beach Prospects on Instagram or Beach Prospects Analytics, and he's got the link right there in the bio. You click all these articles, the Southland Conference and the ASUN and CCSA, they're all there. Tell us how that kind of came as a part of Beach Prospects.
Yeah, Eric, that was, it came about, again, it wasn't necessarily planned, right? And Beach Prospects Analytics came about a year after I started Beach Prospects. And so, you know, I always, even as a coach, I was heavy into analytics. I thought in order to know how you're doing and how to improve, we needed to measure things. And, and so I took that, that belief or that philosophy, and I brought it to, the advocacy that we're doing now for clients. And one day it just hit me. I have tons of data. We're researching data on a daily basis. Things as mundane as how many programs are, in each level and each division, and how many programs are in each region or each state too. How well are they doing? What are teams' winning records over 3, 5, 7 year periods of time? How many players are on their rosters over time? Is this a program with a big team or a small team typically? Have there been changes to that over time? Does that change when coaches have come in and out at these programs? What are the average size of players there? How big are their blockers in this conference versus others? So we were doing all that already as an incident of our belief that having that information would be good, would help us to be better advisors for our clients, right? So we were already doing that, and then I thought, why don't we have a little fun and make some of this information that we have public, right? I mean, we didn't want to give away the farm, because we thought that was part of the special sauce that we could bring to some clients. But I thought, well, let's share some of this because I don't see it really out there. It's not available anywhere. And I started to look at big time sports like basketball and football, who were ranking teams and ranking the teams outside of the rankings, and how many programs are in areas, and how are teams doing, and who wins championships more than others. And I really used some of the things that are being done in the so-called bigger sports of basketball and football. And I said, well, let me apply this to beach volleyball. I have the numbers, and then it just becomes a matter of doing a lot of math, updating it, and finding someone better than me to do the graphics. And so that's how it started, because we were already doing it. And I thought, let's have some fun and put it out there. And it's been received wonderfully. So it's a little bit of a motivator to keep doing it. And that was the graphics part of it. And then I got, typical me, I tend to really get focused on things when I do it. And so we were doing the graphics, and then I thought, geez, why not do some stories that describe how we came about, what our process was for the graphics. And so then I started writing articles, and that blossomed into more and more and more. And then I said, boy, it's the same 10 or 12 teams we always hear about in the press. And, the media seems to be hyper focused in all sports, but certainly in beach volleyball too, on the best of the best. And certainly those teams and programs and coaches deserve that attention. But I thought, aren't there other people out there? Aren't there other teams? Aren't there other players? Aren't there other great stories out there that we don't hear about, right? So I started to try to bring some attention to those stories. Again, both as to keep myself updated so I can be great and knowledgeable for my clients, but also because I like writing, and, it became fun to share it. So that's kind of how analytics came to be.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And again, I told you, Dois, Richey, and Cassidy, big geeks, like the content. And so let's talk about the tournaments that are taking place this coming weekend, really starting Thursday, Wayne. And let's start with CCSA. These are the big guns. There's only 6 teams in this conference, but 4 of them are in the top 7 in the nation. TCU, the second straight year, the number 1 seed, 31-1 overall, but it was Florida State who won this tournament a year ago in Huntsville. How do you see this one?
Yeah, this is going to be incredibly fun to watch, and I really wish I was going to be in Huntsville watching it, but I'm going to be in Fort Lauderdale, Conference USA. But this one is stacked. In this conference, as in others, there's going to be some phenomenal teams that don't make it to Gulf Shores. But why not go with the favorite? I think it would be a little bit crazy if we went against TCU. So we've picked TCU as the winner here, but fully acknowledge that it's almost reckless to pick against Florida State, who's never lost the tournament ever. And even last year when TCU was dominating everybody in sight, Florida State found a way to somehow beat TCU in this tournament, right? So, mainly for fun, we picked TCU as the winner, but Florida State is obviously an unbelievable juggernaut. And let's see if, Grand Canyon can get past South Carolina, right? I mean, that's going to be a great one. And if Grand Canyon gets past South Carolina, and the TCU Grand Canyon match is going to be, an unbelievable war there. LSU, I expect, would get by Missouri State. And then that LSU Florida State match should be again another unbelievable match. So that second round is going to be incredibly competitive. And the unique thing about the CCSA, is that we've frankly projected, on the road to Gulf Shores, that TCU, Grand Canyon, LSU, and Florida State are going to get there. That's what we think, and we just don't know what door they'll go through. Right? We think that those 4 teams will be there. And which door they go through, whether it's an AQ door for winning the conference or whether it's an at-large bid, is secondary to the point that I think all 4 teams are going to Gulf Shores.
Real quick, just for those of us that don't know the numbers of automatic qualifiers, the AQs, and you just said you think at least 3 at-large bids coming out of the CCSA. How many AQs and how many teams will get invited to this tournament?
So that field will be 17 teams, an unusual number, but 17 teams, and they'll be selected in 2 groups, right? You'll have 9 automatic qualifiers, and that just means the winners of each of the 9 conferences. And then you'll have 8 other teams to round out the 18, which will be selected at large. And this year, for the first time ever, those selections at large will be made without regard to region. So there's no longer like we have to pick some from the East and some from the West. It's literally the next best 8 teams in the committee's judgment go. So that'll round out the 17-team field.
Excellent. All right, let's go to Conference USA, where it's Florida International and Florida Atlantic, the 1-2 seeds. They're in the top 15 in the latest national AVCA poll. There's Tulane right there having a fantastic season. Your old school with Coach Easy now at 22-8. Terry Del Conte's team at UAB. I mean, there's 4 teams in my estimation that could make a run at it. Is that how it lines up for you? And who's your pick?
Yeah, we like those 4. I think those 4 have done a good job to separate themselves a little bit from the crowd in the Conference USA. FIU and Florida Atlantic are obviously separated themselves at the 1 and 2, and so are on opposite sides of the bracket. I would look for UAB to get past UTEP in the first round there, and then face off against FIU, and then certainly we would expect Tulane to get by Jacksonville State, and then get into the next round against Florida Atlantic. So much like the CCSA, this second round is going to set up some incredible matches. And we've picked FIU to win it, but we're not pretending we have any special insight into that. I mean, to pick FIU over at Florida Atlantic or Atlantic over FIU is the way we see it is really a coin toss. Outstanding 2 teams. And the wrinkle here is, it's a little unclear whether an at-large bid will come out of this conference, right? Certainly the AQ, whoever wins it gets the AQ, of course, but you think that if you're just looking at seeding, if the seedings hold, either FIU, Florida Atlantic, or Tulane will be a runner-up, we think, right? And good luck to the other 3 teams and putting together an upset bid, but it's unsure. We have all 3 of those teams on a bubble list, assuming any of them doesn't win the tournament and get the AQ. We have all 3 of those on a bubble list, and right now FIU and FAU are just literally neck and neck for us on that bubble list, with Tulane a little bit further down, mainly on a strength of schedule issue that we're looking at, despite their 22 wins and a phenomenal season.
Yes, and VSN was fortunate enough to be in Huntsville last year, live streaming 3 different conference tournaments, CCSA, Conference USA, and ASUN, where we saw FIU and UAB make great runs last season in the conference championships. Let's focus on Tulane and Eyal Zemet's team. And Coach Easy's squad has just done such a nice job this year, and they finished strong as well. They left White Sands and Tulane in the New Orleans area this week, of course, to head over towards you in Fort Lauderdale. But before they did, we caught up with the number 1 pair, Molly Eberton, the transfer from USC, and Kendall Peters. They're the California connection, but we also talked to the 3s, where you got a Texas tandem of Ashton Mayers and Abby Jackson. Let's listen to those players now speak about their season and looking forward to the Conference USA tournament.
Hi, I'm Kendall Peters. I'm from San Francisco, California. I'm a senior, and I am playing at the 1s with Molly Eberton.
I'm Molly Eberton. I'm from Saratoga, California, and I play at the 1s with Kendall.
Awesome. It's great to see you guys. Good win this weekend against Southern Miss. First of all, let's just talk about the California connection. I know you guys got a chance to go out there just recently in the season. That must have been cool. But I know USC to here. How did you guys both come to New Orleans from California?
It's actually funny because we played since we were 13 together at the same club, and we went to high schools next to each other. And I decided as a sophomore to come to Tulane, and then Molly told me that she was potentially transferring from USC to somewhere else, and I suggested Tulane, and she came here. So
yeah. I had the opportunity to ask Kendall a lot of questions. She had great things to say, and it'd be fun to play together one last time, so it was an easy choice.
So, coming off 2 national championships and bringing kind of, some of that winning edge over here, you guys have played awesome. You were the conference pair of the week not too long ago. What has it been like this year, kind of setting the tone on Net 1 this year?
Yeah, I think just having a lot of experience, even being able to learn, especially from USC, and kind of bringing that here. But then even so, being in a different position there versus here. So I think it's been great to kind of bring that experience, not only to the ones, but also to the rest of the team. Just being able to kind of be a leader for them as I had when I was at USC.
Yeah, I think Molly definitely brought a lot of leadership from her experience at USC, and then also being a taller player on the team too has helped our team out a lot during practice and games. Just bringing leadership and just great stuff.
Okay, so you pick up a nice sweep against Southern Miss on Senior Day, and you kind of trying to carry that momentum to this conference tournament. What do you think it's going to take to win this thing? Because you guys obviously can win this thing, right? You just beat, I think, UAB just recently, again, after they beat you earlier. FIU, FAU, I mean, there's some great teams, but you're a great team too. What's it going to take at Fort Lauderdale?
I think we just have to be consistent with our play. I think we can definitely come out first and win conference, and we just have to get it done, focus on our side, play well, and just have fun.
Yeah, I think too, we've played some other ranked teams this year, so I think just kind of coming with that same mentality of, on any given day, anyone can beat anyone. So just taking that and with confidence and working as hard as we can to try and get that done.
Yeah.
How do you feel going in? Do you feel confident? Do you feel like, we're gonna go and take this thing?
Yeah, we feel confident. I feel very prepared, and we have film, and I'm very excited.
Yeah, I think a lot of preparation just throughout the season. It's kind of a nice culmination of all the hard work you've done. So just being confident in that moving forward.
Well, good luck in Fort Lauderdale, and we hope to see you in Gulf Shores in a couple weeks.
Thank you so
awesome.
much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ashton Mayers, and I am a senior on the beach volleyball team at Tulane.
My name is Abby Jackson, and I'm a grad student at Tulane.
All right, Abby, let's start with you.
Okay.
What has this season been like from your vantage point as you transferred in?
So from transferring in, it's just kind of been a whole different perspective for me. Just being new and trying to kind of fill a leader role, just being also the oldest on the team, and just trying to work as hard as I can in order to, show these girls I want to work for them, and I want to win for them, and I want to be the best I can. So,
Give us the story of your transfer. Where were you before?
Yes.
Why did you pick Tulane, and has it worked out like you planned?
Yeah, so I was at FAU previously. I played there for 3 years, and I decided to transfer because of COVID. I got an extra year, and so I looked at a bunch of schools, and Tulane is just an awesome academic program, and so I was like, I met the coaches, I met the girls, I knew Ashton growing up, so I was like, this just seems like a really great fit. And it's been honestly so much better than I even expected, and I had high expectations, and just the people here are just so awesome and so welcoming, and just the team works super, super hard, and we all have the same kind of goal and mindset with every practice, which I just really appreciate. So it's just been a lot of fun, and I've loved it.
So you knew her, Ashton, before.
Yes.
Well, tell us what this year has been like, and what's it like playing with someone that you've known and now you're a teammate with.
Yeah, so we're on court 4 this year. We've been hopping between 4 and 3s, and it's been amazing. We are 25-5, which is such an amazing record, honestly. It is so much fun being on the court with Abby. She's my best friend. She's my roommate. We do everything together.
We have the same birthday.
Yeah, tomorrow.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, so
That's insane. How about that?
yeah, honestly, it's just a whole new experience having your best friend on the court next to you and always knowing she has your back. She knows exactly what I need to hear in those moments, and she's a freaking stud. So
It's awesome.
yeah.
All right, let's talk about conference tournament. You guys
Yes.
are leaving for Fort Lauderdale in a couple days. What are your expectations? What's going on inside? What are you thinking right now?
Yeah.
Personally, I just think like being the 4th seed, like most of the time 4s and 5s, start. I think it might be 5 across.
We all play at the
Yeah.
same time.
So I
And
just
your
think
old school there too.
yes, we probably will be playing my old school. So
Potentially our second game.
yeah, so just motivated. I think Ashton and I really focused this year to just set the tone, being the first round, and now being 5 across. Our goal is to continue to set the tone and work super, super hard, and we want to be a secure win for our team. And so we're just super motivated, and we're going to continue to grind this week and work on the things we need to work on. And so
Yeah, I'm super pumped. I feel like we have so much skill on this team, and going into a new conference with schools that are more our size is honestly such a blessing for us, just considering it's so much easier to recruit people to bigger public schools. I feel like we have really high expectations, and we hold each other accountable to that, not only as a pair but as a team. And I feel like our team has so much confidence in us that when we go out there, they know we're going to come away on top. And so that's always something really nice to have, that almost self-pressure that you need to do this for each other, but that your team has full confidence and faith in you.
Those players very optimistic, and rightfully so. And Eberton's made a difference, right? She was part of back-to-back national championships at USC, on net 5 last year, competing for that national championship and winning. Now she's on the ones, and Kendall Peters, you just heard there, they've been friends since junior ball back in 12s and 13s. So they've made a definite difference on the ones. And man, this team is loaded. They're deep. 1 through 6 can beat you.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I can remember putting a lot of time into Tulane's roster at the beginning of the year when I did a preview of that conference. And I think we said at the time, they could very well make a run to the finals in this tournament. This was back in February, looking ahead to this season, and nobody who's going to want to play this team, whether that's during the regular season or certainly in this tournament. Tulane, we said at the time, and I still believe they probably have the deepest roster they've ever had this year. They are a team that if I'm one of the opponents, I don't want to play them. They could very well get to the final here, and you don't want to count them out at all. They've done a very, very good job on a nice schedule this year, and it's going to be fun to watch to see what they can do.
All starts Thursday in Fort Lauderdale. Let's segue into the Sun Belt Conference. They're going to be in Huntsville, playing on the opposite side of CCSA. But again, here's one of your other former teammates or former teams, and Beth Van Fleet's team won a conference championship a year ago. But this is the inaugural Sun Belt Conference beach volleyball tournament. What do you see this one? How do you see this one shaking up?
Yeah, the Sun Belt, it is exciting. First championship for them, right? They put together that conference last fall and kind of late in the day, but a lot of phenomenal people got the job done. And so, here I think we'd probably have a lot of people agreeing with us. We've picked Georgia State to win this conference and win the AQ. It's interesting to see that College of Charleston, who didn't get a lot of attention, I don't think, this year, got the 2 seed over Coastal, who got a little bit more of attention, and again, well deserved. Coastal had a pretty magical weekend. I want to say it was week 2, and they were able to get a couple of nice wins over nationally ranked opponents at the time. Cal Poly was nationally ranked, and Coastal beat them in week 2. And then that same weekend, Coastal also picked up a win against Washington, which I think was number 20 at the time. So, that put Coastal a little bit on the map. But interesting that College of Charleston, a team we've had on our watch list all year, gets the number 2 seed. So we anticipated and projected a final in the Sun Belt between Coastal and Georgia State, but again, it could very well be that the College of Charleston marches through this thing, and that's kind of how we see it. I would say ULM, if people don't notice, ULM has put together an otherworldly, record this year. 30
and 2. That was going to be my question. I'm jumping in here. Michael Hobson's been on the show a couple times. 30 and 2. We spoke to them about a week ago for UNO's first home beach volleyball match. ULM was a part of that, and we got Michael Hobson aside, and hey man, what do you think about going into the Sun Belt? You're like, hey, they think that, hey, we can win it. We're there, and obviously a coach has to tell his players that. I guess my question: 30 and 2 record, not ranked in the top 20 in the AVC, not in your best of the rest. So out of the top maybe 30 with a 30 and 2 record, obviously that has to be strength of schedule. But man, that's still a lot of wins, and this team's you got to keep an eye out for them, don't you?
Yeah, you do. And I'd say certainly the first half of the season, you wouldn't say that they played a lot of great competition. So you were seeing the record and saying, gee, what would happen if, right? But then the back half of that schedule, they did start to play some better competition, and they were able to still string together to win. So, you look at it and you say, wow, Coach Mike, had a good idea and it's coming to fruition. He was both simultaneously able to collect wins, but probably he would say more importantly, give my players a chance to learn how to win, right? And so it appears as though he's done that excellently. And I think 30 and 2, I think he would say is less of an accomplishment and probably more looks like a plan well executed, right? I mean, it was done by design for the purpose of developing a team into players who knew what it felt like to win, and erase, some history where it had been a little bit of a while since they had seen a final record over 500. So again, you understand what Coach was doing, and it looks like, given what his goal was, he's pulled it off, very well. And as you said it, 30 wins is a lot no matter who you play. You play beach volleyball in Division I, and you get out there and you put 5 teams out there. It is not easy to win. Anything can happen, and to win 30 times out of 32 times against anyone is itself a little bit of an accomplishment. So it should be fun to see if ULM can pull something magical off here in this.
I'm pulling for him. I love that team. I'm real excited about him. I can't wait to see how they fare. Hey, the number 6 seed in the Sun Belt Conference is Southern Miss. Sean Taylor has his team. They're so close, is what he told me when they came last weekend to play Tulane. They've been so close so many times, and he was like, man, if we just got one of those big wins, he was feeling that it could have led to 2 or 3 or 4 wins, got them on a roll. They win 15. They're the 6th seed. 3 of the 4 players on his roster and his starting lineup hail from Louisiana. We had a chance to speak to 3 of them. We didn't get Taylor Pierce. She was busy taking care of business on the 2s, but we did talk to Morgan Perry, true freshman out of Baton Rouge, on the 4s, and Madison Cassidy and Kelly Garraway, who are now the teammates on the 5s. And so we got 3 of the 4 players talking about their season and talking about this first Sun Belt Conference tournament.
Hi, I'm Madison Cassidy. I'm a sophomore at Southern Miss.
Hey y'all, my name is Kelly Garraway. I'm a 5th year at Southern Miss.
Kelly, let's start with you. Wrap up this season for us as you get ready for a conference tournament. Wrapping up the regular season, what's it been like for Southern Miss and for you?
So this season has been marked with a lot of growth. We know that the sport of beach volleyball is rapidly growing, and so you either got to jump on the wagon or you get left behind. And so it's just been a season of jumping on the wagon and growing, and just kind of like raising the expectations, and just working hard and having a lot of fun with it.
How would you sum up this year for you, Madison?
Definitely have had to adjust to change.
Having to adapt to things.
Being a defender and now going to a full-time blocker and then going right side to left, back to right. It's definitely a lot of change, but it's growing as me as a person and a player. So I'm super excited to bring it into conference.
Being on the court this year, being able to play, being able to contribute, what has stood out this year? Give me some of the highlights for you, whether it was a match, whether it was a win, whether it was even staying close against a Florida State. What has been your highlight this year, Madison?
I definitely think me and Kelly at Florida State, we played Florida State, LSU, and LMU, and it was very close matches the whole time. And then also at TCU playing LSU with Ashland Ruff, we went 31-29 first set. So it was a very close 3-set game, and it shows that we can do it. We just have to keep putting forth work and effort.
Kelly, what about you? Your highlight of this season?
Yeah, so I think this season for me has been mostly about just, you know, having joy when I play. You know, I'm getting closer to, you know, my adult years and moving on from collegiate sport. So I've just been trying to focus on having fun with it and just kind of taking in the last moments, being present with the girls. And it's a lot less about the volleyball than it was in years past. It's a lot more about the people and the relationships and just having a lot of fun with it.
All right, coming up to conference tournament, I want you both to kind of give me your expectations and what needs to happen for Southern Miss to kind of reach their goals this coming week.
Yeah, so I think that the main thing for us is if we play with confidence and we play with aggression, I think we're going to be just fine. I think we're going to do a really, really good job if we can keep those things kind of in check. Because when we play that way, we play some dang good volleyball.
I definitely think knowing we can do it and having the ability, because we work hard every day and we support each other. So going in with confidence and knowing we can do it is what we needed to do. So taking it day by day, point by point, match by match.
Best of luck to you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Morgan Perry, and I'm a freshman at Southern Miss.
Morgan, tell me what this freshman year has been like for you. You're starting as a freshman at a Division I college. I mean, that's got to be pretty exciting. What's it been like for you?
This season has definitely been rapid growth. I didn't break the lineup until we played at LSU, but that was honestly something really special because I feel like I worked my butt off at the 6s and 7s, and I tried to just jump in every game I possibly could. But playing with Ashlyn, another freshman, we've had to learn how to compete at a fast-paced game, swing hard, be aggressive, hit our shots. So it's been really fun.
What was that week like when you went back home to Baton Rouge? You found out you were going to start, then you played at LSU Stadium. You've been there so many times growing up. When did you find out you were going to start? When did Coach Sean tell you?
We played the first day, and I had finished my 3 matches playing at the 6s and 7s. And I finished my 6s and 7s match, and he said, "Morgan, you're up at the 4s." And so I got up and grabbed my water, and I went to my bench, and I chose heads, and I played my first game. But it was definitely a full circle moment. It was cool.
All right, well, take me through then to now, wrapping up the regular season here. Tough match against Tulane, another tough college, top 20 team. Tell me about the growth that you've had this first year and your expectations going into the postseason.
I think I started the year off pretty timid, and as I got into the lineup and started playing girls, I had to become more physical. So every match became, I want to score this point, I want to be the one to get served, and it had to be a more aggressive mindset.
Tell me about the conference tournament. What are your expectations?
I just want to go out, no regrets, swing hard, pass well, go for everything.
It's a drop the mic moment. I think we should wrap it up. Nice job.
Thank you.
So 3 of the 4 Louisiana connections we just hear from, and again, excited, had a good season. They've won more than they did last year. A lot of youth on this team. What do you think about Southern Miss and Sean Taylor's group as they go into this inaugural Sun Belt Conference tournament?
Yeah, Southern Miss is an interesting team because they have put together a year this year better than some previous years, and they've played some really good volleyball. They haven't been particularly close against, say, the elite, the top 10 or 12 teams when they faced them. But point number one is they did face them, right? So, Southern Miss is at a point in its program history where it's not a beginner program so much anymore, and coaches really trying to put his players in an environment where they get to play and see some of the best of the best, and I think that is part of his philosophy. But against teams like UNO, teams like which is a really nice program, made an incredible run in the Southland Conference just a few days ago. Against teams like Corpus Christi that won the Southland, which we think is an exceptional team and probably the best unranked team in the country right now. They did well, right? I think there was a 3-2 win in there, or 3-2 matches in and against those opponents. So Southern Miss, I feel like, is a team that's on the cusp. They're playing a nice schedule. They're playing the right schedule for them, I think. It's a team that I think if given a little bit more time, and if they can get a couple of those recruits that they're fighting for, right? With everybody else, that's something that can change that program around. I think 2 players and one more really good flight on that team can start to turn some 3-2s against into 3-2s for. So I like Southern Miss. It'll be interesting to see what they can do in this tournament.
The last conference I want to break down and get your opinion is the Pac-12. And again, you start at the top here. UCLA, the number 1 team in the country, 32-2 overall. And number 2 seed is USC. They're only the 2-time defending national champions. They're the 3rd ranked team right now in the country. I mean, what a powerful juggernaut at 1 and 2 here, Wayne.
Yeah, unreal, right? And the Pac-12 in many respects resembles the CCSA, right? Incredibly deep. We'll see numerous teams from the Pac-12 and Gulf Shores. We'll see multiple at-large bids come out of the Pac-12, and much like perhaps the TCU Florida State 1-2 seed, you could probably just toss a coin and call USC the 1 seed and UCLA the 2. I mean, we're really splitting hairs there. Both of those teams obviously will end up in Gulf Shores, but it should be incredibly exciting and incredibly high-level volleyball, out of the Pac-12 as usual. And, for them, we like Cal a lot. Who doesn't, right?
Yes,
we actually went out almost for fun. I actually projected Cal gets to the final. So
nice.
I don't think that would be crazy to see it happen, but it's, just because it's more fun to just outline the top 4 seeds and go with them. But we love USC, UCLA, obviously. Cal, we expect to have a really great tournament. And Stanford, we expect to have a really good tournament. So we have those 4 teams going to Gulf Shores again. Whether at large, 3 of them will be at larges, 1 of them will be an AQ. And we also have Washington as a bubble team for us. They've had an amazing year. Yeah, Derek Olson over there has done an unbelievable job. It's their first full season really as a ranked team, right? And they've done an excellent job. And last night, late into the wee hours of the morning, we were kind of crunching the numbers again for our bubble teams, and Washington looks very, very good in that race. So there will not be many at-large bids available. We think somewhere between 0 and 1, literally. Depending on which conference winners, come out of the conferences. But Washington for us may be the top at-large team right now. So the Pac-12 could end up with 5 names out of their conference into Gulf Shores. So really interesting race out there.
No, there is. And again, I guess that leads us to, our final question for you. Teams to watch that are on that bubble. And you just said Washington. And I think you earlier, who else did you say that you love? Was it Coastal Carolina or was it Charleston? One of those schools that you had right up there. Give us your best of the rest, I guess. And that's something that you've really, done a good job with all year, the North Floridas and those schools. But coming into this weekend, who do you like, and who do you think, makes a run possibly as a dark horse to make it to Gulf Shores?
Yeah, so the teams that we have on the bubble, and we include teams that might win their conference, we have Georgia State in there because, they're a bubble team if they don't win their conference. So, Georgia State, Pepperdine, FAU, FIU, Washington, South Carolina, Tulane, and Arizona. So if you group all of those programs up, some of them are going to win their conference, and so they won't be in a race. They won't be in that bubble race for the at-large bid. And so, you assume if Georgia State wins, then they don't have to try to fight for one of those bids. But right now at the top of the list, assuming they don't win their tournament, we see Washington maybe the best at-large team. Right behind them, and perhaps even overlapping, we see FIU, FAU, and Pepperdine. So those 4, we think, have really separated themselves in what I'm calling a bubble race, which is the teams that we would look to first for any at-large bids if they don't win their tournament. Tulane is a little bit lower on that list, as is Arizona and South Carolina. But that's what we're looking at closely. It'll be very interesting to see, who surfaces, because they're not done yet, right? They could still pick up some very good wins in the conference tournaments and improve their resume.
How deep is the Pac-12 when you got the 7th seed Arizona on the bubble to possibly get an at-large bid? But look, we really appreciate your time. And we liked it so much that, and I haven't even asked you this, so I'm just going to ask you right on the podcast. Do you think we could have you on next week to project the national championship tournament at Gulf Shores?
Yeah, let's do it. That'd be super fun. And
Yes, let's do it.
we'll make sure we're prepared.
That's awesome. Hey, and I will too. I'll try to make sure I got some questions lined up for you on the way out. Tell people how they can, follow your work, and if they're a prospective beach player that wants to go to college and their parents need some guidance, how they can get a hold of you.
Oh, sure. So, yeah. So, I mean, we're the best place to probably start out is just go to our website, beachprospects.com. We try to just do a little bit of explaining about who we are there, and there's a contact button. So, best way to do it is just reach out, send us an email, and say, hey, we'd like to chat. And we love to talk to anybody who emails us. We hop on the phone and we'll spend an hour with you. And it's less important to us that you work with us, and more important that when you hang up the phone, we've got you pointed in the right direction. So, awesome. Super happy to do that. If anyone wants to call and reach out, hit the education button over there too. We write a lot of the stuff, Eric, that you and I talked about today. We put it up there. It's free. We're not trying to sell stuff. We're just trying to get people to, have some information that they don't otherwise have, right? And it both pertains to the stuff we talked about today, but recruiting tips. That it's all up there. We're on Instagram, Beach Prospects, and of course the analytics too. So Beach Prospects Analytics, and we hope you enjoy and read the stuff, and it's a pleasure doing it. So we're glad people are reading.
That's awesome. Hey, great stuff. Thanks so much. It's great to get to know you. And as we said, beach volleyball geeks, we tend to stay together. So like I said, I've already bugged you for another appearance on the show, and we're not even done with this one. Thanks so much. And have fun in Fort Lauderdale. Tell us how all our teams are doing there. Tulane, UAB, we got some Mount Carmel girls on FIU. Man, have fun, and we'll talk to you in a week.
Very good, Eric. Thanks for having me. I'll talk to you soon.
You got it. That's Wayne Holly, again, former Tulane beach volleyball coach, now running Beach Prospects, and does a fabulous job. We're down to our final break here on Digging It with Eric Richey, brought to you by Bayou Granite and Marble. When we return, what's coming up on VSN this weekend? Well, there's plenty. I'll tell you when we return. Great job. Great job.
Yeah,
Since 2000, Bayou Granite has grown to be Southeast Louisiana's largest fabricator of stone countertops. From precise laser measurements to state-of-the-art water jet and CNC machines, we can handle your kitchen and bath needs as well as any commercial projects. Let our expert staff design and customize the right material for your home or business. Stop by our new state-of-the-art fabrication facility and showroom today at 9622 East Main Street, or call us at 985-637-4911. And don't forget to like us on Facebook.
Hi, my name is Will Sermon from St. Charles St. John Parish Farm Bureau. On behalf of my entire staff, I want to wish all the players and coaches the best of luck. Real service, real people.
Just about time to wrap things up here on Diggin' It. Before we do, let's tell you what's coming up on Varsity Sports Now this weekend. Well, it starts with lacrosse. That's right. LHSLL playoff action. The first weekend of 2 takes place all this weekend. Looking forward to plenty of coverage, quarterfinal action, Division II, Division I, and then the Division I Final Four is the next week. But plenty of LHSLL playoff action on VSN this weekend. Also, high school baseball playoffs. The VSN affiliates like Ascension Catholic and Lutcher, both hosting the best of 3 game series. We'll have all those games for you on VSN this week. That will do it for another edition of Diggin' It. It was an awesome show, content-wise, guest-wise. Certainly enjoyed it. Want to thank Jake Palmer. Want to thank Wayne Holly. And really, best of luck to all our teams taking place this weekend in college conference tournaments. For Justin Thomas, our director, I'm Eric Richey. So long, everyone, and thanks for watching.